Uzul RAAM was the High General of the Locust Army who personally led the attack on the surface on Emergence Day. Before his rise to power, he was once just a drone soldier who then became a member of the Theron Guard. His intelligence, strength, and loyalty earned him the title of head of the military leadership of the Locust Horde. In his early military career, RAAM spent a year as the rank of Mog fighting in the Lambent War. His demonstrated skills and intelligence then earned him a spot as a member of the Theron Guard. During this time, RAAM had quickly proved himself to be even stronger and smarter in the elite unit. For unknown reasons, RAAM was cast out of the Theron. Despite this, he eventually earned the rank of Vold and led the bloodied vanguard against the Lambent. During this time, he became close friends with Scourge, who was excommunicated from the Temple of the Trinity due to his blasphemous visions and was forced to join RAAM on the battlefield as his second-in-command. RAAM also became rivals with fellow Vold Karn due to the two's conflicting views on the Lambent War. As the Lambent War waged on, RAAM envisioned a life without war for his people and thought that colonizing the surface and leaving the Lambent in the Hollow to drown would allow for him and his species to live in peace. During RAAM's visits to the surface over time, he observed various human armies waging wars against each other in the name of territory and resources, a flaw that the Locust did not have. This warped RAAM's views of humans, growing hatred for them and believing that they were undeserving of the surface, and sought to wipe them all out once Serra was conquered. While RAAM and Scourge looked over the city of Jannermont, RAAM revealed his plans to lead the Locust army to the surface, wipe out humanity, and claim the surface for themselves. Scourge agreed with his plan and assured RAAM that he would stand by his side. They then approached Uzul Srak, who was the High General at the time, and presented their evidence that the war with the Lambent was lost. Srak refused to hear their case, which caused RAAM to attempt to speak with Queen Mira, which caused Srak to brutally attack him. After retreating to safety, RAAM reveals to Scourge that he was not trying to convince the general, but rather Queen Mira, who he knew had been hiding in the shadows listening to RAAM's assessment. After taking down a corpser that was sent by Srak to attack RAAM for betraying his authority, RAAM gives a speech to his soldiers and reveals his plan to involve Karn and Ketor Vrol, the high priests of the Cantus, in their plot. He then told Scourge to approach Ketor Vrol and tell him that he had a vision of the Inner Hollow, specifically the Temple of the Trinity, falling to the Lambent. RAAM then went to meet with Karn and began to mock him over his inability to control his troops. Karn greets RAAM and reveals that he too has declared the war lost, to which RAAM begins to manipulate him, questioning if he too wished for a way to end the war. RAAM then made an example out of a drone who had disobeyed Karn's orders. When Karn questions how he can assist RAAM in his plan to end the war, he tells Karn to purposely let the Lambent into the Inner Hollow. After Scourge failed to convince Vrol to aid them, a horde of Lambent proceeded to attack the temple. RAAM and a squadron of boomers arrived and took out the Lambent. Vrol realized that RAAM and Scourge were telling the truth and agreed to help them convince the Queen of their plan. Before entering the throne room to meet with Queen Mira, RAAM spoke to his old Theron comrades guarding the door. While initially expecting them to denounce him, they reveal that they see the truth in RAAM's plan and that they will support him when the time comes. While in the meeting, RAAM and Scourge began to present their case with Vrol backing them up. Mira was shocked that their reports were so different to Srak's, who tried to threaten RAAM as the council argued, accusing him of deliberately setting recent events in motion. As they continued the meeting, a wounded Karn barges into the room and reveals that RAAM is right and that the war has been lost to the Lambent. This causes Queen Mira to lash out at Srak, demanding an answer as to why the Lambent were capable of reaching the temple. She then questions RAAM on what he would do with the Locust Horde at his command. RAAM then explained to Queen Mira of his desire to lead the army onto the surface and destroy humanity, taking the surface for themselves and leaving the Lambent in the Hollow to drown. Queen Mira then promotes RAAM to Uzul, making him the new High General and demoting Srak to Vold as punishment. Queen Mira then ordered everyone out of the room except for RAAM, where she revealed that she knew of RAAM's plot from the beginning and that while she agreed with it, she was waiting for him to take action. Before he could react, she quickly choked and forced him to understand that while they both wished the same thing, trying to dethrone her would result in his death. RAAM was now preparing to invade the surface as the newly appointed High General of the Locust Horde. Meeting back with Karn, he reveals to RAAM that he had been dreaming of slaughtering humans for some time. He also reveals that his men had been slowly losing the expansion hollow for some time and believes that the Lambent were not mindless monsters and that they follow commands. He also tells RAAM that he is unsure of what makes it impossible to destroy them. RAAM agrees with Karn's assessment and promotes him to the rank of Zamil and tells him that he will be leading a dozen blights to invade the Republic of Goraznia. RAAM then meets up with Scourge, who informs him that Ukon, the lead scientist of the Locust Horde, agreed to assist them in exchange for allowing him to use the humans as test subjects for his modified corpsers. The two then lead an army of Locust up to the surface, determined to destroy the coalition of ordered governments, with Genermont being their first target, ambushing a group of gears in a training hall, killing most of them, with the last survivor being personally executed by RAAM. As they move out, RAAM asks Scourge what his vision tells of their attack. Scourge replies that they would have a thunderous rise and a savage fall. RAAM seemed to be unfazed by these words and told Scourge that he would take his place upon his death. RAAM then walked out and witnessed a King Raven being destroyed by a nemesis, reveling in the carnage around him, stating that it was a real victory for the Locust Horde. While reveling in the bloodshed, RAAM was nearly grazed by a snub pistol, though he quickly killed the gear with his knife. Scourge then warned him of another attack, this time by Srak, who was angered by his demotion and wished to get his position back. Srak quickly gained advantage due to his armor protecting him from all of RAAM's attacks and began to strangle him, but RAAM managed to kick clear and signal two nearby Theron guards. The Therons shoot Srak with their torque bows, destroying his armor and severely wounding him. RAAM then began to mock him on how his reliance on his armor has become his downfall and proceeds to tear out his heart with his bare hands, killing the former High General. The Therons then asked how he knew Srak would attack, to which RAAM responded that he is a proper Uzel. In return for their unquestionable loyalty, he promoted them to Krav and told them to report their blights to Jermad. RAAM believed that this was the fate that Scourge had warned him of, but Scourge told him that he would not live to see the war's end. RAAM was still unfazed by his demise and told Scourge that he wants to carve their names in history before leading his forces into the city alongside him. Sometime after Emergence Day, RAAM gained the ability to control Krill, which can be seen during the evacuation of Lima, which took place in 9 AE, where he directed a Krill storm to assault the city. Hours after the Krill storm, RAAM emerged in the center of the city with a tremor armed with a thumper, which is used to summon Cedars from underground. Queen Mira spoke to RAAM telepathically, ordering him to escort the tremor to emergence points to summon the Cedars in order to ink out the sky. Multiple gears counterattacked RAAM and his soldiers, but RAAM wiped them all out and was able to summon several Cedars. He then moved to one of the last remaining areas of the city that was not under Locust control, which was Dr. Weissen's orphanage. As his drones attacked the squad guarding the building from one direction, RAAM advanced the gears from behind to catch them off guard. Jason Stratton, who was living in the orphanage, tripped and fell while dodging incoming fire. RAAM picked up Jason and prepared to stab him. Jace kicked RAAM in the face, and Private Alicia Valera knocked Jace out of the way and attempted to use her chainsaw bayonet on RAAM. His armor protected him, and he killed Alicia with his knife. The rest of the gears opened fire on him, but the Krill protected him as he retreated on his personal Reaver. RAAM then circled the sky and destroyed their APC and the bridge that led to the orphanage, preventing any escape using the vehicle. After a large battle between RAAM's army and Zeta Squad, RAAM's Reaver was shot down and crash-landed, which left him with a badly wounded leg. As he tried to free his injured leg, Lieutenant Kim appeared in front of him, seeking revenge for Valera. As Kim charged at him, RAAM managed to call a shield of Krill to defend himself. Kim continued to get through the Krill until Corporal Michael Barrick stopped him before being killed. RAAM frustratingly watched as Zeta 6 and the civilians in the orphanage escape in KR-84, unable to stop them. Another well-known event that RAAM was involved in was Operation Midnight, which was a coalition operation that started in Storm 14 AE to secure Faro Bridge on the Landdown Highway so that a COG convoy could pass along the bridge. During this operation, RAAM led a squad of Theron guards in an attack on a gear squad that was stationed on Faro Bridge, who were attempting to keep it open for a convoy to pass through. They advanced on the squad, killing two of the gears with their torque bows. RAAM and his Therons then cornered the remaining gears on one end of the bridge. Once they were about to advance and overwhelm the gears, 4 King Ravens appeared and opened fire on RAAM and his soldiers. RAAM jumped over to the side of the bridge into the water below to escape while his soldiers were killed. He swam to shore and watched angrily as the gears succeeded in carrying out their mission and the COG convoy crossed the bridge. When the COG launched the Lightmass Offensive in Gale 14 AE, RAAM personally led the Locust counterattack, where he led an ambush of 2 gear squads at the Tomb of the Unknowns, intending to hunt down and kill the leader. He isolated and personally killed Lieutenant Min Young Kim, the leader of Delta Squad, whom he recognized from Lima City. RAAM then tossed Kim aside and turned his attention to the other gears, but they had already retreated into the Tomb of the Unknowns. RAAM then ordered the release of a berserker into the tomb to hunt and kill Delta and Alpha Squad to prevent them from from escaping with the sonic resonator. However, the squad was able to lure the berserker outside and kill it with the Hammer of Dawn. During the late offensive, Delta Squad went into the hollows to map out the area. At this time, RAAM captured a gear shortly after Delta arrived at the Lethia emulsion facility and used his comms device to discover the humans' plans of the Lightmass bomb and its needs for targeting data. After hearing this intel, RAAM crushed the gear's helmet and snapped his neck in a single hand and sent forces to East Barricade Academy, where they prevented Delta Squad from obtaining Adam Phoenix's targeting data on the hollows. As the COG used a Tyro pillar train to carry the Lightmass bomb to be launched into the hollows, RAAM personally set out to hijack the Tyro pillar with armed forces in order to capture the bomb. While RAAM's forces in East Barricade failed to stop Delta Squad from obtaining targeting data, RAAM was able to take control of the train, throwing many of the defending gears off the high-speed train. RAAM guarded the bomb while his soldiers secured the train and attempted to stop more gears from boarding. However, Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago were able to jump aboard as it passed through Timgad Station. RAAM stayed with the Lightmass bomb at the front of the train as Marcus and Dom fought through all of his forces on the train. RAAM confronted them at the head of the train, determined to stop them from reaching the bomb and inserting the target data. RAAM held his ground, advancing on the gears while firing his handheld Troika heavy machine gun at them while being protected by Krill. Reavers also attacked the gears in support of RAAM, but a King Raven manned by Colonel Hoffman, Private Augustus Cole, and Private Damon Baird prevented them from interfering. RAAM was unable to kill Marcus and Dom and was eventually killed when his shield of Krill broke and was shot to death. They left his body on the Tyro pillar as it drove into the emulsion pit and launched the Lightmass bomb into the outer hollows.